Hey everybody, I'm Monty Mott. I want to thank you for investing in the Shareholders podcast once again, man. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm enjoying doing these shows. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Today, I always tell you guys I'm excited to do these because I always am, but I'm very excited for this show. Why are you excited, man? Because we're talking finance, and it's been hard to get a finance person on only because the way we search for guests a lot of times and people I don't know is we'll search hashtags and things like that and look on Instagram and internet. But a lot of these hashtags are connected to fake accounts or they're computer generated, especially with finance. It is so hard to get a real person. It's like talking on the phone to customer service. But little did I know, man, I'm doing all this searching around and I know a person that I've been knowing for a long time that's in the business right now. So I'm glad to pick his brain and hopefully you guys can learn something. I have Mr. Eric Green with me on today, man. EG, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing wonderful, Monty Mott. Just always exciting to be here. And whenever I speak in any public forum, I always want to give all honor and glory to God and to our esteemed leadership, Bishop and elect lady. And so with that being said, I'm excited to be here, man. Excited to share some good news from the financial front.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always give an honor, and we appreciate that. So can you just, before we even get into the questions, give kind of your, because you've already said you've spoken places, give your background and what it is you kind of specialize and do.
Okay, so I was born in Plainfield, New Jersey, but I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My childhood dream was to pursue playing pro football. So I was playing with the Detroit Lions in 1994, played in Buffalo with the Buffalo Bills in 1995, pursued pro football for about 3 years. Unfortunately, it was a short stint, man, just wasn't cut out to have one of those long, arduous careers. But I ended up in the auto industry, worked for two major automotive manufacturers, both Ford and Chevrolet, for more than 12 years. Very successful, made over a couple $100,000 a year in that field where I kind of got my feet wet into retail and dealing with clients and consumers, scaling a business, all of that kind of front. But God had touched me. I just felt like I wasn't operating in the spirit of what God had destined for my own life. I felt like my life was inclined to help people to get ahead, to be able to pour into them, help them live a more productive financial life. So I got involved in the financial sector where I have both the securities license, which is an investment license, Series 6, 6326. I help people in the area of setting up mutual fund accounts, IRAs, Roth and traditional, SEP IRAs for self-employed people, 401ks for small businesses. Also help people in the front of understanding the proper use of life insurance. So I am licensed in the life insurance form as well too. So I've built a client base of nearly 500 clients to date that entrust me with their finance and their financial life, and also have built a little bit of an agency. I'm currently licensed in 23 different states across the country right now, have agents and clients in most of all of those states as well too. So that's really the gist of where I'm at right now. And I don't know if that gives a great detail of where I'm at right now, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, man, those are amazing qualifications. And so you kind of just, do you feel like this finance thing kind of found you? Because like you said before, you were really trying to do other things and, football and all that stuff, but it kind of just seems like you kind of stumbled into it and you kind of got a passion for it.
Yeah, I think for me, I had a there's a book called The E-Myth by Michael Garber. It's called The Entrepreneurial Myth. And I had an entrepreneurial seizure is what he called it, is that you spend your life working for other people, building their businesses, building their dreams, and you're just a part of building somebody else's dream. And I just had this vision that God had gave me that I would build my own business and that I would do that. So that, and it just kind of came to finances because I made a lot of money in my working career in the auto industry, made probably a couple $1 million over a 12-year period of time. But because I didn't know the principles of money, I was real reckless. I spent just about as much as I earned. I built a $600,000 house, wife driving a Mercedes, did all of the things that people would typically do. And if I had learned the financial principles and some of the things I'm going to share with you today, my life would have been better served. And so it's an internal thing for me, but now I've just dedicated my life to sharing these principles to other people to make sure that they don't have to go down that financial road of devastation for themselves and their families.
Okay, so let's jump into it then. You just alluded to the financial principles. What are some of your core principles that you took? Because you mentioned in your kind of talk in your bio, you said some things and IRAs and things like that. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who don't even know what that means because we are so uneducated in finance. I don't understand why we can graduate high school and know biology and know Pythagorean theorems, but don't know nothing really about finance in the real world. So help a beginner person out. What are just some of the core financial principles that you like to give out?
Well, there is a financial principle, and I'm going to ask you this question so I can put you in the seat of your viewing audience. And if you think about the word responsibility, right? The end of that word is ability, is the ability to do something. That's an action word, ability. The ability to respond, responsibility, right? That you can respond in areas of your life where you can attack and not wait for things to happen to you, that you can go do that. And the foundation of that is something called the rule of 72. Now, have you heard of that personally, Monty Mont, the rule of 72?
Not, no.
Okay. So Albert Einstein has been given credit for founding this rule over 100 years ago. And basically, the rule of 72 tells you how long will it take for your money to double in an investment based on the rate of return. Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. It's a powerful force that can get you wealthy if you understand it. So anybody in the money world, and I'm not talking about your cousin that's got a few bucks, man, in the hood. I'm talking about anybody in the money world that knows anything about money. They know that rule, the rule of 72. And it's foundational for you to know that if you plan on building money. Now, if you are getting a 3% return on your money, if you took the number 72 and divided it by 3, that number is 24. So it tells you that it will take you approximately 24 years for your money to double. So if you had $10,000 and you put it in an account earning 3%, it will take 24 years for that 10,000 to double and become 20,000. Mm-hmm. If you are getting a 6% rate of return, 72 divided by 6 is 12. That money now will double approximately every 12 years. But if you're getting a 12% rate of return, right, that money will double every 6 years. So if you don't know that rule, you can't win a game when everybody in the financial world is operating on that rule, but you don't know it. You're going to lose from Jump Street. Let me explain this to you. Like, let's take a look at a bank. If you went into a bank and you gave a bank in a checking account, savings account, CD, or money market, what rate of interest will the bank give you on that money, Monty Mont?
A bank? You getting like 1%. You barely getting.
So check this out. So if you took 1%, that means if you put $10,000 in the bank, the rule of 72 says 72 divided by 1 is 72. It will take 72 years for your money to double. You'd be older than Moses before your money double.
Right.
And so, and you know what's crazy is people don't even realize this, is that's why the banks, there's a bowl sitting on the counter at just about every bank in America. And you can grab as many out of that bowl sitting on the counter in the lobby of just about every bank. What's in that bowl, Monty Mont, that's sitting on the counter in the lobby of a bank?
What, they got the candy bowl you talking about?
Yeah. They've been giving out suckers.
Suckers, yeah.
For more than 50 years.
Yeah.
Why suckers? Isn't that coincidental?
Yeah.
That the bank has been giving out suckers? It's literally like they're telling you, bring your money in here, sucker. We're going to take your money. We're going to put it somewhere to get 12 or higher %. We're going to give you 1%. And they're getting wealthy off the backs of everyday Americans. That's how banks are established. Wow. They get rich and wealthy using other people's money. They give you a false sense of security by saying your money is going to be safe in here with us. And they're behind the scenes taking your money and investing it and things that they're comfortable with that you're not comfortable with, but they're comfortable with it because they know that in the end, the payoff is going to be larger for them. So I would say the foundation of you understanding about investing is you have to understand the rule of 72, that you have to shoot for higher returns on your investments. And you can get really specific. The book says, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. If you know exactly how much money you want to get, you know exactly the rate of return you need to shoot for, you put some money to that, and you can ultimately hit that goal for you and your family. But most people don't know the rule of 72. And so they don't know exactly what they need to do to hit the goals they have to be able to retire, have enough money to live out the rest of the day. So if you don't know, you're going to get to age 65 and you're going to still be wondering as the wind blows, you don't know where your life is from a financial perspective, if that makes sense.
Oh man, that is wow. Just right, guys, right off the jump, we're learning right there the rule of 72, which is so these banks, man. I used to work at a bank and you were showing enough right. We showed it had that suckers thing. That's crazy you said that. But okay, so let's take it to a next level then, to where when we talk about financial responsibility, and I like how you broke that down, the ability, you know what I mean? I see so many times in the on the Shareholders podcast, I specifically only follow like business things and financial things because I want the algorithm for our show and all that. And I see so many times they're talking about financial responsibility to where, whatever you take in, whatever your gross is or your net, that 100% of what you take in, a lot of times they say you're supposed to only try to live off of maybe 30 or 40% of that, and then try to either save another 20% of that and then invest or something like that. Now, do you subscribe to that theory as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called the pay yourself first formula.
Mm.
See, the foundation of what you make, people think, like if you go to your job, right, and you make $5,000 a month in income, right? And you think, I make $5,000 a month. You don't make $5,000 a month. If you got $4,000 in bills, you make $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, because the bills that you have, that's why the book says we should be the lenders and not the borrowers. If you go into debt, you enslaved. You're not working for you. You're working for all these other creditors. You're working for Nissan Motor Acceptance, General Motors. You're working for the rent you pay, that rent company, that mortgage company. You're working for them, right? But if you make 5,000, but you have 4,000 in expenses, you make 1,000. It's not what you make. It's what you keep at the end of the month. And you have to take a portion of that money and pay yourself. Now, financial experts say that if you want your lifestyle when you get into your retirement years to be the same, you should pay yourself roughly about 10% of your income. Now, obviously, we know off the top your tithes, offering, but the next 10% you should pay yourself if you want your retirement lifestyle to be the same. But if you want your lifestyle to be better, you should pay yourself 15% or more. And unfortunately, it's a cultural thing where certain ethnic groups, that's what they teach their kids growing up, man. That little Johnny, man, and the other culture, little Johnny be like 12 years old, man. Johnny got like 50 grand saved, man. He took all his birthday money, man, and right. Easter money, man, Christmas, all that money, man. Johnny got more money than his parents. And so, and in our community, right, the kid turned 12 years old. He got a phone bill in his name. The lights in his name. He only 12, man. The light bill is in his name. And so at the end of the day, you have to pay yourself a portion of your income so that now you can put that money to work for you. See, if you're not putting money aside, you don't have no money working for you. And if you don't have money working for you, you're going to continue to work until you die.
Wow. So, okay, man, it's so many different, you're taking me so many different ways, but let's hit very quickly because you just talked about, the little Johnny, if you will, and sometimes it's just a cultural thing. There are a lot of people that are going to watch this who are going to say, man, I basically started in the hole. I ain't never got out of this hole. I'm just operating check to check because I can't, like, it's good what you're saying, man, but I'm so deep. And I know it's a lot, but how does a person climb out of that? What do you tell a client that says, here's my situation, the credit ain't good, I got debt, I get that, blah, blah. How do they even start to just get free and be able to put their head, above water, if you will? What would you advise?
So somebody once said, man, how do you eat an elephant? Hey, man, it's one bite at a time, man. You got to take one bite at a time. debt is just so catastrophic, and it really enslaves people. So the first thing that people need to do is really, people are so distraught about their situation that somehow, most of the time, they just avoid even looking at it. They got all of these bills piling up, so they figure how I deal with this, don't even look at it, and that's not going to make it go away. And in some cases, it's going to make it worse. You have to put all the cards on the table. You have to establish a financial worksheet and sit down and say, this is what I got going out, and this is what I got coming in. And you have to establish some level of budget where you're going to just create a budget that you can absolutely stick to. You can't take on no new debt, and you have to start doing it. I ascribe to, and I teach some of my clients to do what's called the debt snowball. This is where you just line up all of your debts and you just start attacking one debt at a time. You pay off one debt, take the money from that debt and roll it up to the next debt in line. And you just keep that process going. So you never pay more money than you're paying on your debts, but you're doing it in a way to kill the interest. And you feel a sense of accomplishment. See, what happens is, let's say you got a credit card for $300 as part of this equation, right? And let's say they're asking you for 25 bucks a month. Well, what you do is you just focus on, don't add no debt. And I know that if I pay 50 bucks a month on this credit card, it's going to be paid off in 6 months, right? And so I take that $50 a month that I was paying on that credit card and apply it to the next debt in line and start killing the interest in those debts. But the biggest thing is you feel a sense of accomplishment. When you start eliminating a debt, you feel like this is working. I'm heading in the right direction. I'm winning. And that winning momentum keeps carrying you forward. And there's a scripture I say all the time. It's like literally every day. It says, write the vision and make it plain so he'll run who reads it, right? And the thing is that once you have a debt elimination date, because you have that date in your vision, it just keeps you disciplined, man. It makes you hungry. You think about it. You wake up, man. You're excited about life because you know there's an end to the story of you being enslaved in debt. And so at the end of the day, you have to stop spending. You have to stop going into debt. If you can't pay for it with cash money, you don't buy it. You can't afford it. It's not that God don't want you to have it, man. He just wants you to have it in your season, man. You want to live ahead of your season, man. God got you in 2022. He wanted you in that Mercedes, but no, you don't want to wait to 2022. You want it right now. And so you go and get in debt and you bury yourself. It's not that he don't want you to have these things. He just wants you to have them in your season. And so you have to have a debt elimination strategy, debt snowball, pay off the debt, roll that money to the next debt. And we have a program that actually does it for our clients. So I can actually plug in all of their debt and it'll tell them exactly the date and year that they would be out of debt. We got people that's got 2 mortgages, paying them off in less than 11 years and that whole thing. So it would be debt snowball is your way to attack that. And you have to have somebody put that together for you.
That's amazing. And I mean, guys, if you're watching or listening to this, he basically is telling you it takes time. There's no, well, let me ask you about this, because I see this a lot too, these debt consolidation places, or these credit card consolidation places. And what I think they do, they're kind of giving people we'll just wipe everything away and it'll be all right. But at some point, there's a price to pay. Either they hit your credit or they do something else, and I shouldn't maybe speak out of turn. What do you feel about that, first of all? And then let me see where we go from there. But how do you feel?
Well, debt consolidation in the eyes of the credit world is considered a form of bankruptcy. It's not a literal bankruptcy, but it's a form of bankruptcy, because what happens is these debt consolidation companies, they work out agreements with all of these credit card companies, car loan companies, and they negotiate the interest down for you. So they negotiate down the interest, but the agreement that you enter into is that you can't go out and acquire any new debt. They force you from being able to open up any new credit card. So you put yourself on a credit freeze, which probably ain't a bad idea to stop you from being able to go out and apply, because they put on your credit report that you're in credit counseling. So it stops companies from being able to even issue you any more credit, because you're now in this consolidation program for 2 or 3 years to pay down that debt. And then what they do is the debt consolidation company charges you a monthly fee for establishing that. Now, the payment traditionally is a little bit lower, but you are enslaved. It would be almost better if you're able to kind of have that discipline and do that on your own. Most people don't realize that you can call your creditors yourself. And if you're in some kind of hardship, they will work that out with you to
Yeah.
lower the interest and stuff directly instead of you having to hire a debt consolidation company. So you keep yourself free credit-wise to be able to still have some credit movement without having to lock yourself up for 2 years and be in credit prison for 2 years or
Wow.
18 months or however long they do that.
Yeah, see, guys, it's all kind of going. He's kind of having that theme of discipline. Like you can't want the washboard abs tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of time, effort, and inch by inch, for the progress. So what are some ways then that we kind of hit on that too? Because another thing I know is that I hear people always say, "Man, have your money work for you." Have your money. You want to be making money while you're sleeping, things like that. I've heard people kind of allude to that. What are some ways that, for the person, you finally climb out of debt and you like you said, I like how you said that you pay one debt and then take that money and pay the other debt. You're kind of getting a little more flexibility with your finances. What are ways to kind of, again, we know there's no get rich quick scheme, but ways to make your money work for you? What are some of the best tips you give for that?
Well, there's only really 2 ways for your money to work for you. That means your money is invested in some kind of business operation, or you're partners in some business where you have some investment in a brick and mortar business that's operating and you just own a part of that business and you can get a return on that. If you don't want to take on that business ownership exposure, then you have to put your money into some form of an investment where you're invested in the economy, in the global economy. So you have your money in stocks, bonds, in mutual funds, some kind of index funds where, and there's a variety of them, but at the end of the day, your money is invested and you're banking on having some form of ownership of companies in the market. And that's the only way, is either your money is working for you in the markets, meaning that you have investments of companies that you don't have any hands-on effect on the operations of that, or you have your money invested into some brick and mortar business that is in operation that you're part owner of. And there's some risk factors on both sides. If you're the owner of a brick and mortar business and you have your money invested in there, then that business has got to thrive. Revenues, expense low, making a profit, because now if that business goes out of business, the brick and mortar side of it, then you would lose all of your investment. And fortunately, unfortunately, for those people that are successful, they've lost a lot of money trying to find their niche, and ultimately they win big. So it's not like most people that have a successful business has failed at about 5 or 6 other things before they found success to be able to do that. So that's one thing. That's going to be a very difficult road for most people to do because of all of the discipline that it takes to run a business. Most businesses don't turn a profit for 2 to 3 years. So you have to have enough money to live off of outside of having to get a paycheck every month. So your money is working for you because you own a business, a brick and mortar, or your money is invested in the markets where you're just having some ownership of companies out there without you necessarily being involved in the hands-on.
Wow, guys, this is, I hope you're enjoying this, man. We're going to take a quick break. I got some more questions for Eric Green, man. I'm learning. I hope you're learning as well. We're going to talk about some other things coming up, life insurance, a little bit. He kind of hit on the stock game as well. Stay with us. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Customers know that all their homely needs will be properly handled when working with Julie Palmer. Not only is Julie Palmer an excellent realtor, but she is well known for having gained notoriety for advertising properties, broad preparation, and a grand knowledge of information on the nearby market. Julie is the basic asset for showcasing extravagant properties. Her relationship with Just Vegas Land has given her accessible contributions throughout the incredible nearby and worldwide assets. And she has a set-up record for watchfulness and security when addressing esteemed customers. Why wouldn't you choose Julie Palmer when looking for the perfect home? So please, you can contact her at juliepalmerrealtor@gmail.com, or you can check out her website at lasvegaslife.style, or you can check her out on Instagram at las_vegas_life_style. You certainly will not be disappointed.
Hey guys, we're back and we are getting our Money Matters. I'm gonna call this the Money Matters episode here. And we're trying to hit some matters that hopefully are affecting you and some things that you can learn about. I'm here with Mr. Eric Green, and he's already given us a wealth of information, but I want to ask a couple more questions of him. So let's go to this. First of all, I think that when people even hear of stocks, and things like that. They feel like that's a whole, man, I don't know nothing about that. I don't mess with that. You know what I mean? And why do you feel like people are so apprehensive to even talk or get into stocks? A lot of people are like, hey man, I got some money under the mattress. That's all I'm good for. You know what I mean? But stocks are like this scary thing to people. Why do you think there's that misnomer?
Negative and bad news travels much faster than good news. Mm-hmm. So if people overall perception of stocks is bad because of the stories they hear, but they don't know all of the context to the stories that they hear. They only know, man, I lost 15,000 in the stock market. I lost 10,000. I lost 6,000. They hear those stories. But you know what's funny? They never hear that same person say, well, I made 10,000 in the stock market. Well, I made 7,000, because there were some times when they made 10,000, they made 7. But you never hear those stories. Right. Why? Because most people that have those things happen, they don't want to tell you they made 10,000 stock market because they think you're going to want to come get some of their money.
That's true.
So people just don't understand it. You know what's crazy? Is that Money Mont, is that, check this out. The word stock, when you say, man, I got stock, the word stock means equity. That means I have ownership. So let's say you bought a house for $200,000 and you owe $100,000 on that house. You have $100,000 of stock in your house. You have $100,000 of equity in your house. That's stock. And all the word stock means is equity. That's why even in the market, they refer to them as equities. They don't refer to them as stock. That's just for the common man, it refers to it as stock, but it's referred to as equities. So it's ownership. So if you ask somebody, would you rather own your house or you rather rent your house? Most people say what? Yeah, they want ownership. Would you rather own your car or you want to be leasing your car or renting your car? You rather own it. Ownership, most people say they want to own their stuff, right? Well, ownership means stock. So stock is a great thing when you understand exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a plain and clear example of what it means to have stock, okay? Now, I'm going to give you this example. So there's only really two different things that you can buy when you invest your money in the market. You can either purchase stock or you can purchase bonds. It's one of those two things. And here's the difference. If I have $10,000 and I buy stock in McDonald's, that means I own a portion of McDonald's. If McDonald's goes out of business, what happens to my money? It's gone. I lose it, right? Yeah. So it's risky. Okay, so stocks are riskier, right? But I get a higher rate of return on stocks because I'm taking on the risk versus reward. I get a higher return. Bonds are the exact opposite of a stock. I can take the same $10,000 and loan my money to McDonald's. All a bond means is that I loaned my money, like I borrowed my money to McDonald's. Mm-hmm. So I don't own McDonald's. I'm just a creditor. McDonald's borrowed my money. That's all a bond means. And here's why bonds are safe. If McDonald's went out of business, they have to liquidate. They have to sell all of their assets and they have to pay off their creditors. Well, the number one creditor that they have to pay off is bondholders. So bondholders get all of their money first before any stockholder gets any money. So normally when companies go out of business, bondholders recoup all of their money because it's a safer instrument of investment. But you also get lower rates of return on bonds because it's safer. So let me just give you an example here. So if you had a corporate bond, that means you loaned your money to who?
So if you have a corporate bond.
If you have a corporate bond, that means you loaned your money to who? A corporation.
Yeah.
If you have a municipal bond, you loaned your money to a municipality. Yeah. If you have a treasury bond, that means you loaned your money to the United States government. That's all the word bond means, is that I loan my money to somebody. They have to pay me back with interest, right? So bonds are safer, okay? But what we tell people is not to buy individual stocks or individual bonds in companies. We tell people to purchase mutual funds because a mutual fund has somewhere between 50 and 500 companies in one mutual fund. So if you buy stock in a mutual fund and you have all stocks in that mutual fund, that means you have stock in 50 to 500 different companies. Could be Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix. So your money is spread out in bonds over 50 to 500 different companies. And the only way you can lose all of your money is all 50 to 500 companies would have to do what?
Go out of business.
Go out of business. Yeah. And what's the likelihood that Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, all of these companies, Alphabet, who owns Google, what's the likelihood that all of these companies are going to go out of business at the same time?
Right, yeah.
It's not likely. That's what makes mutual funds safe, is that you can have an all stock portfolio in a mutual fund, you can have all bonds, or you can have a little bit of both. Every mutual fund has either all equities or stock, all bonds, which is called fixed income, or they can have what's called hybrid, a little bit of both. Some stock, some bonds. And I want you to think about this, Money Mont. Let's say you had a mutual fund that had all stocks in it. You had one that had all bonds in it. And you had one that was right in the middle, was a little bit of a mixture of both of them, right? Which one you think over 30 years would get the highest rate of return?
Over 30 years?
Yeah.
It'd probably be the middle one, right?
Nope. It would be the all stocks, risk versus reward. So all stock mutual funds have the highest return over a long period of time than any of the other ones.
Wow.
Bonds is the lowest because it's risk versus reward. So once you understand the risk, you calculate the risk, and then you go ahead and do it. So just to make it personal, all of my investments is in 100% stocks and mutual funds.
Wow.
Now there's some flexibility, meaning that there'll be some up and down. But here's the thing: is people don't realize this. Money Mont, check this out. I'm gonna give you an easy formula to help you to understand what I'm about to tell you. So every stock or every mutual fund has a value assessed to it. They call it the price per share. So let's take a basic company. Let's take Amazon. Okay. Let's say Amazon stock was $10 a share and you had $100. How many shares of Amazon can you buy? If it's $10 a share and you have $100, how many shares of Amazon can you buy?
You get 10 shares.
You get 10 shares. Let's say half a year later, those 10 shares of Amazon you own, now the share price for Amazon is $5 per share. That's what they're valued at. Now, most people would say, well, I got 10 shares at $5. My investment is now $50. I put $100 in there. I lost $50. What they don't understand is they still own what? How many shares they still own?
You got 10 shares.
They still got 10 shares of the company. So guess what? You still have your ownership in that company proportionate to what the company is valued at. Now, what happens is they don't realize is that same share price that went from $10 to $5 sometimes will end up at $15. And now that 10 shares you got is worth 150.
Yeah.
So what you have to understand, but here's the thing is, here's the kicker though. And I want you to understand, this is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says, and he's considered the greatest investor of all time. He says, when everybody else is scared, that's when he's buying. Because here's what happens. When your 10 shares are worth $5, what do most people do, Money Mont? When their shares go down to $5 per share, what do? Most people,
they're trying to get
they
out.
take their money out of it.
Yeah.
But you know what Warren Buffett does? He puts more money in because let's say you took another $100 and at $5 a share, how many shares are you going to own if you take the same $100 and buy shares?
So now you're getting 20.
You're going to have 20 shares. So now you got 30 shares at $5. When that thing comes back, you got to understand, they call that dollar cost averaging. It's a formula to do that. It's called dollar cost averaging. When the markets go down, the people that's really making insane money, they're putting all of their money in down markets because they're buying everything at discount. We want to buy cars on discount, shoes on discounts, clothes on discounts. Why not buy the stocks when it's on what? Discount. It's on discount when the economy is in one of those depressionary modes. That's when all of the prices are down. You're supposed to put money in. Those that understand what's going on, they just make a killing in those moments. And
I've seen quotes of Warren Buffett saying that, like when people are running, he's going the other way, and he's trying to get in on that, and that makes sense now too.